Hey, y'all, welcome to Celebrate Recovery. Tonight we're going to hear a testimony from someone, and then we're going to also sing a couple songs. In the end, I'll give a couple announcements. Follow that up, we'll do the serenity prayer. I'm so thankful y'all are here. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ, and I struggle with anger, control, and the effects of abuse. My name's Matt.
Lord, I come, I confess, bowing here, I find my rest. Without you, I fall apart. You're the one that guides my heart. Lord, I need you, oh, I need you. Every hour I need you, my one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Where sin runs deep, your grace is more. Where grace is found is where you are. And where you are, Lord, I am free. Holiness is Christ in me. Yeah. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. So teach my soul to rise to you. When temptation comes my way, and when I cannot stand or fall on you, and Jesus, you're my hope and stay. Lord, I need you, oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. You're my one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Oh Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. You're my one defense, you're my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you.
Hi, my name is Laura. I'm a grateful follower of our Lord Jesus Christ, and I struggle with pride and the effects of a dysfunctional family. And I would like to read the 8 principles based on the Beatitudes. Realize I am not God. I admit that I am powerless to control my tendency to do the wrong thing and that my life is unmanageable. Happy are those who know they are spiritually poor. Matthew 5:3. Earnestly believe that God exists and that I matter to Him and that He has the power to help me recover. Happy are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Matthew 5:4. Consciously choose to commit all of my life and will to Christ's care and control. Happy are the meek. Matthew 5:5. Openly examine and confess my faults to myself, to God and to someone I trust. Happy are the pure in heart, Matthew 5:8. Voluntarily submit to every change God wants to make in my life and humbly ask Him to remove my character defects. Happy are those whose greatest desire is to do what God requires, Matthew 5:6. Evaluate all my relationships, offer forgiveness to those who have hurt me, and make amends for harm I've done to others, except when to do so would harm them or others. Happy are the merciful, Matthew 5:7. Happy are the peacemakers, Matthew 5:9. Reserve a daily time with God for self-examination, Bible reading, and prayer in order to know God and His will for my life and to gain the power to follow His will. Yield myself to God to be used to bring His good news to others, both by my example and by my words. Happy are those who are persecuted because they do what God requires, Matthew 5:10.
You are so good to me. You heal my broken heart. You are my Father in heaven. You are so good to me. You heal my broken heart. You are my Father in heaven. You are beautiful, my sweet, sweet song. You are beautiful, my sweet, sweet song. You ride upon the clouds. You lead me to the truth. You are the Spirit inside me. You ride upon the clouds. You lead me to the truth. You are the Spirit inside me. You are beautiful, my sweet, sweet song. You are beautiful, my sweet, sweet song. You are beautiful, my sweet, sweet song. And I will sing again. You are my strong melody. You are my dancing rhythm. You are my perfect rhyme, and I want to sing forever. You poured out all your blood. You died upon the cross. You are my Jesus who loves me. And you poured out all your blood. And you died upon the cross. You are our Jesus who loves me. You are beautiful, my sweet, sweet song. You are beautiful, my sweet, sweet song. You are beautiful, my sweet, sweet song. I'll sing again.
Look at that.
Now the fun part. All right. So we've already introduced ourselves. My name is Jonathan. I'm a great believer of Jesus Christ, and I struggle with self-worth. Hey again, what's up?
And I'm his best half, Faith. And I'm a grateful believer in my Jesus, like I said earlier, and I struggle with codependency, self-worth, and trust. Hey, so I'm going to start off because if I don't, I probably won't ever start talking again. So that was his plan anyways. So I'm going to give you guys a little background about Jonathan and I. Our friendship started about 6 years ago when I got a little ding on Facebook from this guy right here, and he was declaring his love for me and how beautiful I was.
Whoa. I wasn't declaring my love for her. I mean, yeah, she's, she looked good, but I was like, I said, hey, beautiful, but like, don't let her discriminate. She said, well, you don't look too bad yourself. And I was like, hey, oh yeah.
Yeah, and then I hit him with this. I said, this is really important to me. Are you involved in a church anywhere?
And I said, oh, here we go. Another girl. Do you go to church? No, I don't go to church, but I look good, all right? I don't go to church, but I don't look good. I do look good, but I don't go to church. But, so at this time, we started, I really liked her. I saw her in high school, and I was this jock in high school, so I knew who she was, and I wanted to talk to her, but, I just always had that. She's one girl I just couldn't kind of talk to. It's kind of weird. I could talk to anybody else but her, so, yeah. But anyway, so as we started talking, we started talking for a whole year, and the pushing of, I want you to come to church. So she invited me to church for a whole year, and then there was this time frame where we just kind of stopped talking. I was like, she just invited me to church. I'm overwhelmed. Brother, don't want to go to church. I'm working. I'm making money. Don't want to go to church. So there was a few weeks we didn't talk, but she was always on my mind, just always. And I was just like, I got a text. I was talking to one of my friends, and he was my best man at my wedding. I was like, look, man, I can't get off my mind. He said, well, just text her. So, of course, I text her, and then the story goes from there.
So I'm just happy to obviously say that he finally listened and was not hard-headed. And he accepted my invite. And for 5 years now, we've been serving together at this church. And we got engaged probably about right here. And we got married right here on the stage. And I'm just so stinking, and I know you're not supposed to say stinking, but the teenagers know I say stinking all the time when I speak. I'm just so stinking excited to be able to do life with this guy right here. Yeah.
So, as it looks like, y'all got it all together. Y'all is perfect. Y'all is good. But I'm going to give you a little backdrop and show that our first year of marriage was probably our hardest year of marriage. So, as we had this, we had a perfect relationship, I feel like in my eyes. We didn't argue, we didn't fuss and all, but I always struggled with jobs. I always felt like I couldn't find this job that suited me. I just felt like I had something in my mind that I wanted to do, and I wanted to make a lot of money, but all the jobs I went to just wasn't satisfying me. So just in my mind, we just got married, and, we moved into our house, and I just had in my mind, it's like, man, I just don't want to go to work. Like this job I'm doing, I had a certain circumstance happen at my job, and it scared me. And I just feel like in my heart that I'm not supposed to work here. I don't need to work here. I need to go find something different. So it came this time where I had to get up really early in the morning. It was like 4 o'clock. I had to get up. And I just woke up one morning and said, I'm not going to work. I'm not going. So what I did was I picked up my phone, and I acted like my boss was calling me. Quotation marks. Of course, he wasn't calling me. I walked outside and acted like my boss called me. I came back in. Faith wakes up. What's wrong? When my boss just told me that I do not have to go into work. Quotation marks, I lied. So that kind of started a ricochet effect of what would happen, coming up. And I just got in my mind where I did not want to do this job. I didn't want to work. And I was kind of scared to tell her. I didn't want to, be that man, because as a man, we are providers. We want to be we want to be the man of the relationship. We want to make the money. We want to be the provider. But in my heart, I just could not tell her. I did not want to disappoint her and say, hey, I did not feel like going to work because this is not what I wanted to do. And it has come to a time where I did not want to go to work at this job almost every day.
And I just always had this gut feeling, ladies, well, men, you can have discernment too, but ladies, I feel like some of us are blessed with that spiritual gift. So bless him. And my kids, when we have kids one day, bless them, because I just feel like God has given me that gift. And so I just knew something wasn't right about that something was kind of fishy, that your job would keep calling you and saying, no, like, I don't need you. And I just remember one specific night, Jonathan and I had been watching television, and he got up to take a shower, and I just stayed in the living room, and something told me, just check his phone. So I did, and to my surprise, there was a text to his boss that had a very concerning reason of why he wasn't going to work the past couple of days and the next day. And in that moment, I kind of was just like frozen in my seat, because this wasn't what was supposed to happen to someone who had only been married 8 months. And I just felt like my heart stopped a little bit. And like I said earlier, I struggle with trust. And that stems from a broken relationship with my father. When I was a teenager, he walked out of my life, and then I felt that hurt with just relationships from guys, and they ended up cheating on me and breaking my heart. And that just was just another reminder, okay, Faith, like, you're never going to be able to trust anyone. So I never thought that I would struggle with trusting my husband of 8 months of marriage until then. When Jonathan came back into the living room, I felt like I was still frozen in that seat. And all I could do, without absolutely losing it, was look up and say, is there something that you need to tell me?
So I'm at the shower. I'm like, okay, no, I took a hot shower. I mean, is that what I'm supposed to tell you? I mean, but then she told me, she said, she flips around the text message, and I just remember my heart dropping. I mean, it's like I felt so scared, and I felt like, oh, man, okay, this is not supposed to happen. You know, this is something I covered up and covered up and covered up, and I got away with it for so long. And then it found me. If you ever hear that little saying, your sin will find you, bing, yeah, your sin will find you. And in this circumstance, my sin did find me.
So at that point in our marriage, I really didn't know where to turn. I felt like there was no one that I could really talk to about what was going on. For one, because we were both faithful servants in our church. And if anyone in the church knew what was going on, then we were going to be judged. And much as I thought that I hated what my husband had done, I still didn't want anybody to think he was a bad person. Codependency. And secondly, these issues shouldn't be happening to someone so early in a marriage. So I did the only thing that I knew that I could do, and that was pray and fast over our marriage and try to figure out how to deal with this, but not let anybody know. So just work on it with just myself. And all of us know that have tried that second part of my theory knows that it don't work. It was just the enemy's trap to get me exactly where he wanted me to be, alone and isolated.
So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I have to fix this marriage. She did nothing wrong. This is me. Jonathan, you have to fix this. So CR had come in here the first year, and I was kind of like, it's a Friday night. That's something else I don't want to have to do. But in my mind, I felt like that was the only thing that I've not tried to fix our marriage. Okay, so I walk in, I get to CR, and I remember just being like, oh, crap. Like, I'm here, but I'm like frozen. I remember walking in. I'm not that type of person. I'm the person that's always, go and talk to you. If I see somebody, I'll talk to you, high five you, chest bump you, something. But in this time when I walked in, I just felt so nervous and so like somebody was going to judge me. Like, Jonathan, what are you doing here? Like, why are you here? Because it looked like I had it all together. And I felt like I was really going to be judged. So I walked through, and I remember going right there to that back row. And I remember just sitting there and looking around, but like, nobody don't come up here and talk to me. But the craziest thing happened that night. It was something called chip night. And I'm sitting there like, I feel there's fireworks going off and there's like lights going on. People are cheering the songs. I said, what in the heck is this? I'm looking around like, this ain't right. This ain't Celebrate Recovery. And I'm just sitting here. But something caught me that, there was people coming up getting chips, people coming up and getting coins. And I'm like, okay, people are, something's happening here. Something different is going on. And then I remember John coming up here speaking. And then I went to the newcomers class, and then I was talking to, I think it was Gary and Emily that were back there. And I was talking to them, and I remember just on the way home, and I'm like, whoa, this is like awesome. I got to go tell my wife. So I get home, and I remember like slamming on the brakes and opening my door and running. I was like, baby, you got to come to Celebrate Recovery with me.
And when he walked in the door and told me how excited he was at CR, in my head, I said, that's exactly what you need, brother. You need to be up at CR. Not gonna lie, but that's what I thought. And I agreed. But this is what the sweet faith did. I just agreed and said I was going to support him going to CR. But Friday nights was my night to relax because I work about 50 to 60 hours a week. So I just decided that this was going to be great for him. This was God answering my prayers. Yes, you're about to fix my husband. So yeah, that was my take on.
So as a great husband doing, I was thinking, okay, I'm the one that has to fix this marriage, so I'm going to continue going to Celebrate Recovery. I'm not going to force her. So I started coming, and I was like, every time I just started coming to every Friday night. And then I was sitting there, and I was just sitting there during worship, and I remember God telling me, I need you to serve here at CR. What? Serve? I'm here to fix my marriage. I can't serve yet. I got a lot of work to do, bro. And I remember God just telling me that, yeah, exactly. Yeah, y'all laugh at me. Don't judge me. But I'm just thinking that, hey, Jonathan, I just remember saying that, Jonathan, you got a lot to work on. I said, God, I cannot serve right now. I can't do it. But God kept telling me that you're not the leader of this marriage. I'm the leader of this marriage. You can't do this by yourself. This is a we. This is not a you. This is not just a me. This is a we. So I remember coming up here at this altar every Friday night. And you remember earlier when I told you that Faith was inviting me to church for a whole year and I wouldn't come. Well, actually, the roles reversed this time. I was at this altar praying, hands and knees, crying. I said, God, I love coming to Celebrate Recovery. I love coming here, but I can't do this by myself. I want my wife. I want my wife here with me, helping me get victory, and I want her to get victory and learning to trust me again and loving me more again and believing that she has a godly husband that she deserves.
I just continued to do what I was doing, hurt, alone, by myself, praying though. I never gave up praying. That was the only good thing about our situation, I feel like. And I knew that when my husband was coming home, I seen a change in him. I was like, hold up. I'm bad. I'm still bad. And this brother changing. And I was just upset about that. And the Lord slapped me in the face. Who's ever had a moment like that? God's like, hold up, girl. So he reminded me, I had struggled with unforgiveness before, and he reminded me that I was struggling with unforgiveness to this man right here. And the Bible says in 1 Corinthians 13:5, it says, love keeps no records of wrongs. And if I really loved my husband like I said that I did, then I needed to offer the same forgiveness that Jesus has given me and still gives me over and over every single day, right? So to his surprise, when he asked me this particular Friday night, he's like, you're coming with me next Friday night, right? It was kind of like you're coming, like you're going to come with me. And I was like, yeah, I actually am, but I got a condition for you. I'm not going to go and serve in the landing with you. I'm going to sit under some teaching and actually get some, I don't know, fed, I guess. And I sat at the same probably seat that he did in this back row. And what I didn't know, but the Lord knew, is the night that I said yes, there was going to be a couple standing on the stage telling about how Celebrate Recovery had restored their marriage. It's funny how God works. So tears like these right here came to my eyes, and I just knew that this is where Jesus wanted me to be. So I kept doing what everybody says to do, just keep coming back, Faith, and keep doing this program. And I finally decided to join a step study and began working the steps. What I did in my step study for a while is went through the motions, but I started praying and asking God, why isn't this step study helping me like everybody says it will? And yet again, the Lord got me together and said, it's because you got to be real. You got to be vulnerable with these ladies. And that was hard for me because I knew that 3 of these ladies in the step study knew my husband, not just on a, hey, how are you doing, Jonathan level, but like on a one-on-one level where they would talk to them. But I had to do what God wanted me to do if I wanted to get healing. So I finally started being a little bit real in step study, and then I met my sponsor, Pam Ridge, hey, and was finally just open with her. And I was like, look, this is what I'm dealing with, and this is what I've been through. And that is when I began to realize how nobody looks at me different here. And they look at me the same way they did before, and that they just really cared. And then I knew that this was actually a safe place where I could be open and finally have the courage to be vulnerable.
So as I said that, God was tugging on my heart to want to serve. So I was like, okay, well, I work with teenagers on Wednesday nights, and I felt like that's where God was pulling me. Was, hey, you need to go work with teenagers. What you do on Wednesday nights, this is what I need you to do. So I went over there. I remember talking to Miss Hillary and Miss Amanda. I was like, hey, I just want to observe and see what's going on and see what you guys do. Well, I kept going back more and more. I was like, I wasn't coming here. I needed to be over there. And what really got me was seeing students going over there and wanting to get victory over their hurt, habit, or hang-up. When their mom and dad is over here, they're getting fed over there, getting victory over their hurt, habit, or hang-up. And I think that's just awesome, and that's what intrigued me. I was like, man, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. And then I remember going in groups, and I just remember seeing their faces and how much they're open up. And I'm like, hey, I know you. You struggle with what? And I'm thinking like, man, this is like, I didn't know this because on Wednesday nights, we don't get that much on a personal level. Then you go on Friday nights, it's like everybody just spills the beans, and it's real because people are vulnerable. So as time passed, God blessed me with saying that, Scooter was kind of prepping me, want me to start trying to lead the landing. So now I'm able to be blessed to speak almost every Friday night over there and just leading students with my great landing leaders over here in this corner. Without them, the landing is not possible. Yes, I go over there and I prep for Friday nights and I get ready. But without those landing leaders, that landing is not possible over there. It's not possible. So now when me and my wife serving with all these great leaders, and I can say, when John said the average landing is between 5 to 10 students, and we're averaging 50 every Friday night, that's huge. There's some big CRs that don't have 50 on Friday night. So I just see God working in an amazing way and just seeing how God is shaping these students and helping them grow and getting victory over their hurt, habit, or hang-up.
He forgot an important part. He's got, how many chips do you have over this?
Oh, yes. So, I do need to say this. So after I feel like I'm starting to get victory over this sin, this burden, this chain I've had on me. I was able to pick up my 90-day chip last month over this chain. So now these chains are starting to fall off of me, and I'm getting victory over the most hurtful sin where it hurt with me and my wife.
Amen. So you heard that right. After working on my unforgiveness to my husband and my marriage, I felt the Lord wanted me to serve alongside of him in the landing, and I'm so glad that I'm the one that listened to him this time. So I'm going to tell you a quick story, and we all know it. It's in this book right here. It's found in Luke chapter 5. And starting in verse 17, I'm not going to read all these verses, but just pretty much what I want you guys to know about our heart for the landing is there was this guy, excuse me, who was paralyzed, and he couldn't walk and he couldn't get to where he needed to be, but he had a couple of friends, right, who decided, I know a man who can heal you, and I know how to get you there. I'm going to pick you up, and I'm going to put you on this mat, and we're going to drag you to where Jesus is. And when they got there, I can imagine it's kind of like this room. It was kind of full. But unlike this room, all the entryways, or probably just one entryway, I don't know, was blocked. So they had tried to get their friend to Jesus because they knew that Jesus could bring the healing, right? But when they got there was no way for them to get in. So what do? They turn around and go back home? No. They had faith in Jesus that he was going to heal their friend. And they knew that he could do this because they had heard what he had done before. And I'm going to get super emotional about this, but it's okay. They found this staircase, and they climbed up this staircase, and they decided they were going to dig into the roof so they could get their friend to Jesus. Yeah, look at this image. Man. And when I saw this image a few months ago and just was reading over this scripture, and I speak for all of us in the landing and all the leaders in the landing, this is what we're going to do for your students. And we get to do this for your students. Your students might be paralyzed by their hurt, habit, or hang up, but we're vowing as the leaders of this ministry that God's called us to minister for right now, that we're going to do whatever it takes. We might be tired for dragging them to the house for so long, and then we get there and we realize, oh gosh, there's no way to get in. But then we see another way. and we're going to be worn out, because I can imagine that when you're dragging somebody for that long, that you're worn out. But we see there's another way to get you guys to Jesus. There's another way to get one more teenager to Jesus, no matter what it takes. And maybe you're sitting in this room tonight and you don't have a teenager, but I'm pretty sure that the leaders in this big CR, is what I like to call it, are going to do that for you too. So just think about this image. And don't let it leave your mind that if you're the one who's paralyzed, there's going to be somebody there. There's going to be a group of friends there that are going to lower you to your healing and lower you to your Jesus. I don't have anything else.
So, as we shared, this is like as John said, this is the first time that we have shared that nobody knows about this, of what something we struggle with, not even some of our family, but you guys know, because you are our family. You guys are forever family. We're going to see you guys in heaven, so we might as well get to know each other. I mean, shoot, why not? So, yeah. So just know that if you do have a student over there, or if you know a student, I don't care if you have to drag them over there and say, hey, they got food. We feed them. Don't let them lie. We give them candy. We give them drink and food, and we shove Jesus down their throat. And, I'm just joking. But anyway, just know if you have a student here, a son, a daughter, a niece, a nephew, they're safe over there. And they are getting fed. That's not a happy hour. That's not somewhere we're just going to go over there and play tic-tac-toe and duck-duck-goose. No, we're over there. They're doing what you guys are doing over here, they're doing over there on a teenage perspective. So don't think that they're not over there getting fed. No, they're probably, they're getting fed, and they're going out there because, hey, okay, they were that plus one more at one time. Now they're going after that one more student that means the most to them. So thank you guys for letting us share.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. Was grace that caught my heart to faith, and grace will lead me home. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. His grace hath brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no best day to sing God's praise than when we first begun.
please, in the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking, as Jesus did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you in the next.